Hi dear friends, today we are in the hematology lab of physiology department and I'm going to show you the mechanics of using a compound microscope. So students, so this is the microscope that we use in here. We have the eyepiece, two of them. This has a 10x zoom. We have the objective lens. These are the objective lenses. We have the yellow one which is shown as 10x. See, it has a zoom of 10x. We have the high power objective lens which has a zoom of 40x. These are magnification power. And then we have the oil immersion. See, it has a magnification of 100x. So usual question that is asked is total magnification while you are looking through a low power would be 10 multiplied by the 10 in the eyepiece. So the total magnification would be 100x. Similarly for here for the high power it will be 400x, and for oil immersion it would be 1000x. Okay, now the most common question that is always asked during exam and makes the students confused is about the condenser. Now, which is the condenser in the microscope? I have kept a microscope in the lying down position, and what you find here, this whole piece is the condenser which is attached onto the body of the microscope through screws. You can see the screws here, and this is the condenser. I have switched on the microscope. You can see from this here light is coming and it's going through the condenser. From the other side it's moving towards your eyes. So this whole thing is the condenser. And then what is diaphragm? If you see here inside, you see an area here, right? This glass. So this area, if you watch closely, when I move this lever which closes and opens diaphragm, you can appreciate how diaphragm is moving. See, now if you see, I am opening the diaphragm and you can appreciate a small hole is formed in that area. Now I am closing it, I am opening it, I am closing it, I am opening it, I am closing it. Now from this side, if you see, you can see how light is allowed to get into your eyes when it is open. When it's closed, the light is not passing to your eyes. Now at the movement of the condenser, you have a screw here. If you move the screw, you can see the condenser is coming to a lower position. This is the lowest position that the condenser can get, and this is the highest position. I'm moving to the highest. Now the condenser is the highest position. See, this is the highest position, and the other side we have the condenser at the lowest position. So I'll make it low. So this is the lowest position. So what happens, or why are you adjusting this condenser and diaphragm? The condenser, when it is at the lowest position, very less light is allowed to pass through the condenser, and as the condenser is moved up, slowly the illumination that is getting into your eyes also increases. This is very important part that you should always remember. If you want more light, you have to raise the condenser towards the stage. If you want less light, you move the condenser downwards. So this is the concept of using a condenser to adjust the light. And regarding diaphragm, if you open the diaphragm, that means more light comes. If you close the diaphragm, less light comes. And now towards the last part of understanding the concept of a microscope operation. We have the low power. When you are viewing through the low power, when the click sound is heard, now it is in alignment with your eyes. You can view through the eyepiece, and what you can appreciate when you view through the eyepiece can look like this, and what you find inside is nothing but maybe an unfocused area. Now you need to learn how to focus through the microscope, for which you can use the coarse adjustment screw. How do you adjust this coarse adjustment screw? First, before looking, we have to bring this eyepiece, the objective lens, close to the stage as far as possible, and then start looking through the eyepiece. And while looking, you have to move it slowly up. At one point, you might see something, and then use a fine adjustment screw at this point to focus. This is the rule of focusing. If you do the other way, you look through and try to move it in the other direction, it might go and break the glass which you have focused. And finally, about illumination, when you're viewing through a low power microscope, low power objective as I placed it now, when you're viewing, what is the adjustment of light that is required? The low power requires very low light. So what is the adjustment of condenser? It should be at the lowermost position. So you have to keep it lowermost in this direction. So now it is the lowermost position. And what is the diaphragm? You need very low light, right? So you have to only slightly open. See, this is full open. This is fully closed, so slightly open. So this is how the light has to be adjusted. Now, next is your high power. When you are viewing to the high power, let's learn oil immersion, because oil immersion requires the highest amount of light. So what do? You take this screw, put it at the highest position. So this is your adjustment of condenser. I'm raising the condenser to the maximum. So at this point, you will have the maximum light going in, and you have to completely open the lever of the diaphragm, full light. And so finally, what will be the adjustment for the high power? Midway between this. So adjust the diaphragm lever to midway and lower the condenser a little bit between low power and high power. You have to adjust it in between. So around this way, half adjusted. So this is how you adjust the illumination of a microscope, because these adjustments are the classic adjustments which are already found out, and we are giving you as pre-prepared. So whenever for the examination, if you are not answering to any of the other questions that the examiner is asking, he finally will ask you something about microscope, and that something would be mostly about the light adjustments. So if you are not able to answer these basic questions, you will be in deep trouble.